Well, would you look at that? We are live. It's been a fight to get here. Don't know what in the world was going on, but I had to change the complete. It was a completely different hangout. Sorry, guys. I'm doing a little bit of house cleaning here real quick. And I need to make sure that everything is working properly, and then I'll be able to start. And I apologize. It's already been a half hour. Go figure. So I'll stick around, obviously, for another half hour. And, okay. This obviously will not be the final copy of the Hangout that I'll put online. That'll be funny. This is just, technology is not like me at all this week. Okay, so we've got that. We've got that. Come on, close. Oh, I should be playing some music for you or something. How about some Kelly Clarkson? Everybody loves Kelly Clarkson. All right, let's get out of here. And let's make sure that we're on live. Sorry about that, folks. Hey, in case you were, you know what you should have been doing in this time that you've been waiting for me was probably go to Daniel J. Lewis's website. He just interviewed the founder, I'm sorry, one of the creators of Audacity. And that's very cool. So if you want to go check him out, you can find him at theaudacitypodcast.com/221. It's his 221st episode. And looks like we're live. I'm just double checking because this has been a nightmare. All right, fantastic. If you're out there and you want to get a hold of me, fantastic. Just leave me something on the Google Plus page. If you want to send me something more immediately, send it to me in a tweet. I am at MoneyPlan SOS. And I'll be giving you guys some information about this new course that I've been creating and working on and slaving over with the last couple of days of more technical issues. Yeah, it's been wonderful. This is the second webinar I've done today for Audacity's birthday. It's 15 years ago today that they launched to the world. So happy birthday, Audacity. It's been incredible. I've been using Audacity since, I wouldn't say the beginning. I can't tell you when I started, but it was definitely when we were converting these guys to CD. And that's how long I've been using it. We used to take our turntable and we'd run it into the headphone input of a computer, and we would use Audacity to record it. And then we would take that recording and burn it onto a CD. That's how you made CDs back in the day. I don't even know if anybody does that anymore, but we have the ability certainly to do that. But what we do a lot of now is we use that input jack on our computers for microphones, mixers, all kinds of things. We use Audacity for podcasting. There are other options out there, and I'll certainly be talking about them as well. I have found, though, that Audacity is just rock solid. It's my favorite. And maybe I shouldn't say that. It's my favorite because I haven't really tried hard to use the others. If you think about the other options that you've got rather than Audacity, Audacity is a free program. It's cross-platform, so you can put it on a PC. I used to run it on this thing. I mean, look how old this laptop is. It's got chips all over it. Still runs, actually, and the newest version still runs on this laptop. So it works on PC. It works on Macs. It works on Linux. You can download a Linux version as well if you want to run Linux version of Audacity on your computer. And what it was really designed for at the beginning was for music and audio recording, but really for music, and it was a very basic recorder. Nowadays, a lot of people use it to record audio as far as spoken word and podcasting and producing shows and things like that. The other options that are out there are Audition, which is from Adobe. Fantastic program. I have played with it, and it's got a lot of fantastic things on there. It's got a little bit of a learning curve. I guess everything does, but you have to buy a recurring subscription to be able to use it nowadays. It's not like the old days where you used to be able to buy a CD and install it on your computer. It's now reliant upon the subscription gets paid every single month, or if you do an annual fee, you pay once a year. That gets to be expensive when you think about it. It's at least $20 a month. That's the pricing I've been seeing, is about $20 a month just for the basic that you can get Audition from. And then the other big option that's out there is GarageBand. Now, GarageBand is going to be very expensive if you have to go out and get it because you have to buy a Mac. If you don't already have a Mac and you want GarageBand, you have to buy a new computer. That's obviously more expensive than Audacity. Audacity is free. So it's a fantastic thing that they've been able to keep this. I don't know if it's open source, but we'll just say it's free in many, many ways. So it's 15 years now. They're on version 2.1. It's solid. It's been going for years and years and years. They don't make very big changes on it because it just works. Let me go ahead and see if Google will let me share my screen. And we'll go ahead and bring up Audacity. If I can do that again. Oh, of course, I closed it because I had to reboot this computer to try to get Google Hangouts to open. By the way, that didn't solve the problem. It was my last straw, but that didn't solve the problem. All right, we're going to throw in a piece of audio in here. Let me go ahead and space that out a bit so you can take a look at it. It's this simple. It's this simple. It's a player with a record button. You've got all these tools. In fact, a lot of these tools right here, I'm going to put it in the middle screen. It's going to be pretty small for you. I really can't zoom in for you, but a lot of these symbols represent the same symbols you'll see in Microsoft Word. It makes it very easy to do a podcast because I can sit there and I can highlight a piece of audio and I can copy it and I can go over here and I can paste it. And now it's over here on the end. It was just that easy. I don't know how practical that is, but it's just that easy. That's what's so cool about how this works. It's simple to understand. It's very easy to get started with. Let me make sure all my toolbars are on. There we go. There's a lot of things here we could be using. What I wanted to show you tonight is that I'm launching a new course. It's called the Audacity Workshop. Let me go to the website and I will show you. What this is going to do is going to help people who either want to get into podcasting or people who want to learn how to podcast more efficiently. And that's a big thing. When you think about people who start a podcast, they have these high expectations. They're going to get a big audience. They might get a sponsorship. They're going to get their message out to the world. And what they don't realize is it takes a lot of work to grow that audience. You don't usually have someone who just jumps right into it and has an audience. It's very hard to do that, even with the publicity that you have on the front of iTunes if you hit new and noteworthy. So it's hard to imagine all the effort, the blood, sweat, and tears that we put into our art to try and make our recordings sound really good and not spend a whole lot of time editing. And I'm going to give you an example of some of the nightmares that I've dealt with editing. And I choose to do the hard work to make my guests sound good. And I certainly hope that you do that as well, but not to the detriment of you giving up on a podcast. I want everybody to be able to edit quickly and easily. So that's the least of their worries. And they need to worry more about what they can do to promote their shows, things like that. So what I'm showing you on the screen here, let me go back up to the top. By the way, this is going to go away. This is going to be, this is a live player for anybody who might be watching right now. Audacity is free, but your time isn't. I've got a little video here for anybody who's brand new, wants to watch it. It's 1 minute and 7 seconds, shows you how easy it is just to hit record and then export it out as a final version of a file. That's just to get people who have maybe never considered using Audacity to try it out. I have first 10 lessons are coming out for free. What are those 10 lessons? Well, it's the basics. It's the nuts and bolts. It's how to install, how to record. Let me actually bring up Audacity. So it shows you, how to open up a project, how to save as a project, or how to export it as a file, as a file that you'll be able to then play on other devices. And it's just the very basics of Audacity, but it also does walk you through what these toolbars are for. And I think that's one thing a lot of people just skip right over because they don't look into every little thing, because we don't need every little thing. As a podcaster, we don't need every little thing that any of these programs have, to be honest. If you think about GarageBand is an excellent music recorder, music producer. It's really, really well done. podcasters don't necessarily need all of those bells and whistles. We've got Audition has so many great features, and if you spend the time, then you will get a better sound out of your recording with Audition. But it's not worth the time and effort if it's just spoken word, at least in my mind, because what's going on is these people are downloading your podcast and they're listening through these. And these are not exactly high definition. They're listening in their cars. And if you submit your show to Stitcher, they actually take one copy of your file and recompress it for streaming over smartphones. So it might even further degrade the audio quality. So if you're looking for high definition stereo in a podcast, it's a lot of work for very little results. That's just one thing that you want to be aware of. So using Audition, you might get a whole bunch of great things out of that, but it's really, might be overkill for some. Now, I don't want to sound like a poo-pooing GarageBand and Audition, and I'm actually learning about Mixcraft. Mixcraft has got some really cool features in it, and it's not a subscription model, and you don't have to buy a new computer for it. I think it's only about $70. Fantastic. But Audacity's been around forever. It's free. So I'm trusting that since you're watching this, you're already either a fan of Audacity or you are thinking about starting and you want to learn more about Audacity. So let me go back to this. It always creeps me out when that happens. Okay. If you want to learn more about this, you can just simply go to stevestewart.me, and in the top menu bar, you'll see a button that says Audacity. I'm just flustered from this whole thing. Google Hangout not working. Audacity Workshop is what it's called. And it'll take you right to this page that I'm on right here. And we will be able to, you'll be able to look a little bit further into it. But what I'm giving away is those first 10 lessons for free. All it takes is your email. I want anybody who wants to try Audacity to give it a shot. I'll show them where to go to download the program. The lessons show you how to hit record, shows you how to export it out, shows you what the toolbars are, things like that. Now, if you're interested in going further than that, I have what I call the full studio access, and that goes deeper into the nuts and bolts. In fact, there's a couple different modules that I'm creating for that. One is I just call it the basic editing, because then it really does get into some of the cool features that Audacity has. In fact, if you look here, I've got my mouse. I'm going to bring it out here. Actually, you may not even know that you were able to do this. You could actually bring your toolbar here, and it doesn't get in the way of what you're doing. I can click all around this thing, and it doesn't take effect. But if I hit the play button, then it does work.
Believe.
So this little button right here is called the Transcription Toolbar, and what it does is it allows you to speed up the playback. So right here, I'm going to go just over 1.5 times the normal playback speed, and let me just get to a point where it makes sense for me to hit play. This is an interview I did with Jason Vitug from frugal.com. Let me just go ahead and play a couple seconds, and I'm playing it at 1.5 speed.
Will be different. It's catered to the local community.
What I found with doing that is it allows me to really quickly rush through the interview and find all those places where I might need to make an edit. If there's a bunch of ums, I'm going to be leaving myself some marks, and I'll show you that in a minute. If there's dead spaces, if there's a section that we need to just chop out because the question wasn't asked correctly, it wasn't answered properly. There's all these different reasons for why you need to go back and listen to your show and find those imperfections that you can edit out. Let me go ahead and move this back up here. Now, one thing that I do a lot of, and this is a shortcut that really helps me to be able to kind of batch process things. I find that, when you go and you use your mouse and you go click somewhere to do an effect, and then, click, 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 it takes a lot of time. But when you've got keyboard shortcuts that you can use, or if you can use the same function over and over and over in a row without having to jump from doing one amplification effect to then doing this over here, I found that saves you time. So what I'm going to do is give you a live example here of what you can do to speed up your editing time when you're looking for the ums and ahs, because we're going to be looking, actually physically looking for ums, and you're going to see it. After a very short period of time, you're going to see what an looks like visually. All right, so let me zoom in one more time, and let's play that. I know there's some ums in this one, so just when I go through this, I'm going to hit play. Then I want you to keep an eye on where the ums are, and then we're going to go back and do it again. I'm going to show you a shortcut on how to keep track of it. Here we go.
No, it really is. There's a combination of things that we're doing with these events. Each event will be different. It's catered to the local community.
You can see the ums now, can't you? There's a big right here. Let me play it. Big and there's no reason for me not to delete that. It's not part of another word. I can just delete it. Actually, there's a little one here too, isn't there? Okay, I'm going to put that that first one back again. We're going to start over. Now, if you want to batch process your editing, this is what I do. This is really helpful. If you've got a minute or two that you want to listen to, maybe you ask a question and your guest generally answers the question within a minute to two. What you might do is just batch process each answer one at a time. What you're going to do is you're going to place what I call bookmarks, and really what they're called through Audacity are labels. And I use a keyboard shortcut to do that very quickly. Whenever I find a spot that I just want to mark, I just want to mark it. There's two ways to do that. You can use this draw tool. I can kind of draw. Well, I'm not going to do it here, but I found the keyboard shortcut allows me to use my hands to leave myself these markers along the timeline. The timeline is all the space here. Just play, 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 going through time. Okay. So every time I hear something that I want to edit out, or I need to go back and investigate again, I'm going to set my cursor there, and then I'm going to use the keyboard shortcut, Command or Control. If you're on a Windows machine, it's Control B. Control B for bookmark. You can see it just left this little marker thing here. I'm not going to label it. It's just a little reminder that, hey, there's something here that I need to go back and play with or delete. Let me go ahead, and I'm going to go ahead and play some of this for you. You've already heard some of it, but watch now as we go through it that I'm going to leave markers at points where I want to go back and do something. All right, hold on. Here we go.
No, it really is. There's a combination of things that we're doing with these events. Each event will be different.
Okay, we'll just stop right there. Obviously, this, I'm going to play it. We don't need that. I can delete it. We could even delete the right there we got at the beginning there.
No, it really is.
Okay, and then we've got
there's a
oh, guess what I did? I didn't move the timeline with it. Let's go back. Here's a neat little trick that you need to know about. We'll continue with the exercise here in a second. I do not have my time shift tool on. That is this little symbol right here. My sync lock track. I'm sorry, sync locks. The sync lock tracks button. What that does is it makes everything locked together. So you'll see if I highlight something up here, it highlights the thing below it with these symbols, and that represents the fact that I have deleted it. So when I do delete this part here, it will also delete what's below it, and that comes in very handy when you are editing multi-track, meaning I've got maybe my guest on one track and I'm on another track. If I have the time, I will bring up another visual and I'll show you what that means. But in this situation, it's also going to delete the bookmarks or the space between the bookmarks as we go through. So I'm going to go to each one of those bookmarks and take out or do whatever the edit is by highlighting it. I'm just hitting delete. I don't need to do anything else. I don't need to hit the cut symbol. I don't have to go up here to edit. I can just hit the delete key. All right, so let me play that again.
No.
So we can get rid of the
No, it really is.
There's a couple of it's here that we really don't need. Let's see here.
It really.
Yeah, I'm going to take out that one. We'll go over here. I think this was
that word.
I know that you're watching this and it's really kind of painful because you don't know what I'm doing. So let me play this. That's a big old You know that this is an too because you can tell, you can see it. Yep, you can see it. Let's see, is there another over here?
Success,
Not that.
ruin.
Okay, we're going to stop playing with that. Now, there was some other things back here that I wanted to edit, but because I left a marker here for myself, I can go back and I know that he was kind of stuttering through his answer. Maybe there was another word I could take out, make it sound better. This was another Yep. So now if I go back and play it.
No, it really is. There's a combination of things that we're doing with these events.
Sounds much better without the uhs. So you can target the ums for annihilation. That's very, very, very helpful to do that. Another trick that I use, I have not heard other people do this, but I'm sure I'm not the first. Right here between the two sentences is a in-breath. You know what I mean? Here, let me play it. It's not bad, but sometimes they're horrible. Sometimes they're so annoying and you just want to do something about it. You can use the noise removal key, which is in the effects options, noise reduction. And by selecting that section of sound, you might be able to do something. But I'll tell you what, when you apply that to the rest of the track, sometimes it makes the rest of the track sound kind of weird. If you do too much of it, it makes it sound like you're frying bacon underwater, I think is what Dave Jackson says. So you don't want to do that. But if you've got a few of these, if you have a few of these breathing sounds, these heavy breath, all those things, then what I like to do is, well, you could delete it, but if you deleted it, then you're running the chance of that person sounding unnatural because you take away the natural pauses between sentences. So if I were to, let me play a little bit for you and just listen for the difference after I change it.
Each event will be different.
I probably could just delete it and nobody would notice. Let's play it back.
Each event will be different.
But it's a little bit too close for me. It's not natural. So I'm going to put it back. I could also silence it. And there's a couple ways you can silence audio. This comes in really handy when you do have a multi-track recording, your guest on one track and you on the other. While your guest is talking, your dog barks and it picks up on your side. You can silence that dog bark. As long as you're not speaking, it's going to be hard to get the dog bark out if you do. But you can silence it by selecting it and either hitting the silence audio button, or I do this. It's Control L on the keyboard. Control L, boom, and it's silence. Now that will leave the pace, the cadence of the conversation. So let me go ahead and play that again.
Each event will be different.
But it's not natural. Again, it's just not natural because all of a sudden it's very quiet and it just cut like that. And I don't like the sound of that. It just doesn't sound right. So what I recommend people do is go up to effects, go to amplify, bring the new peak amplitude down to like -40 to -50. It doesn't eliminate it, but it makes it less obnoxious. So it would be as if I went, instead of breathing into the microphone like I'm doing right now and going in between every sentence, I could go away from the microphone and then I'm still breathing. You can't see me doing that, but you could tell that there was a difference. You couldn't hear me breathing. Well, it's going to be kind of like that. I'm making the breath less obnoxious. So if I play it back now,
Each event will be different.
I don't know if you can hear that. It's there. It's just that it's very low, very little, very far off in the background. So if you have somebody who every once in a while this happens where you hear this and you want to get rid of that, that would be one way to do it because it doesn't completely take it away by deleting it, and it doesn't completely, change it to silence because you silence the section. And I would use the same tip there that I was using earlier with the ums by playing the sections and then leaving a bookmark where you want to apply that any kind of effect. And then what you do is when you find a section, let me zoom in. When you find a section that has that problem, that same issue that you just resolved. In fact, I've got two in a row here. I've got this one and I've got this one. These are going to be heavy breaths. Instead of every single time going up to effect and hitting amplify and then dragging this down, what I can do is whatever my last effect was that I applied, and this works for some other commands as well, but you can see it even tells me here at the top that if I repeat amplify, there's a keyboard shortcut for that, and that's Control R or Command R on a Mac. So if I wanted to apply the exact same amplification, which was a negative 40 something, then I just hit Control R. And to save myself time, I can do it over here again, because I know that's the same in here. Of course, if you're doing that much, then maybe we have a different issue that we need to take care of. But you can control some of the sound with noise limiter gates. You can do that if you want to spend the money on the equipment. But if you've got the occasional interview where the sound just doesn't get resolved, that would be another tip that I would recommend. At least it's something that I do. And I use these tools to make my guests sound better. It's important that my guest sounds good. I'm actually going to be releasing an interview this week that I didn't edit very well, because I want to give that contrast between the job that I do and the job that, well, you're going to be able to compare apples to apples. And I think that's going to be a neat lesson for some of my listeners to see how I can help somebody sound even better with some basic editing techniques. So those are just a couple of the things that I talk about in the Audacity Workshop, where I've got extra videos in there that dig deeper into the editing and some of the tips and tricks that I use when I edit. And again, I've been doing this for a while. Am I the utmost expert? Absolutely not. Because here's another feature that I'll be putting into what I call the full studio access level. And that is, I've already got verbal agreements with some of the podcast industry leaders. I've got verbal agreements with Daniel J. Lewis from the Audacity podcast, Eric K. Johnson, the podcast talent coach, the Jeff Brown. Actually, that's not a fully confirmed thing, but I think I'm going to get him on for a webinar sometime to talk about preparing for your interview. And then Dave Jackson from the School of Podcasting. I've got some of the big luminaries who are going to come on the show, and they will be live webinars, and anybody can watch them, but the replay will be in the course. It won't be available anywhere else. And that replay will stay in there until the end of time, or, until Armageddon shows up. So this Audacity Workshop that I'm offering today, it's not completely done, but it has a lot of the videos in there already that most people are asking for. Auto duck. I've got a very long video about compression. I'm not the expert, but it actually walks you through, because I think compression is an art. You really have to know your equipment and your setup and your own voice when you're using compression settings. It takes a bit to get it right. So all that is going to be in this course. And because it's not completely built right now, I'm going to discount the price in celebration of Audacity's birthday and in celebration of the launch of this course. I'm going to launch it for $29.95. That is less than 2 months of Audition. If you want to learn Audacity, it's a free program, but do you want to spend a lot of time learning how to use it, or not spend the time and just not get it right? Or would you like to learn from somebody who's been doing it for a while? I've been using Audacity again for many, many years. I can't say it's been 15, but it's been a long time. There's a lot of records on this wall, as you can see. So I can tell you that Audacity is here to stay, and I'm still learning some things about it that I had kind of not really realized was there. And these new things, these combinations of, oh, what if I take the time lock sync off, and then, blah, blah, blah. It's interesting. Sometimes you can do some combinations. So if you're interested, then go to stevestewart.me, and you'll be able to look on the website. You'll see right there at the top where it says, let me bring it up on the screen for you. It'll be right on the top. It'll say Audacity Workshop. Let me bring up the screen for you. And that way you don't have to go away from the webinar. Let's share that screen again. Come on. At least Google is behaving now. That's what I like. All right, so, it's not done yet. Come on. They're waiting. Okay, good. You are seeing it. Fantastic. Okay, so if you go to stevestewart.me, and the reason why it's .me is because I have not, the guy who owns the .com, stevestewart.com, he's owned it since before I had my first computer. He's owned it since before Audacity was launched. So I don't think he's giving it up. But stevestewart.me is where all of my stuff can be found. And if you click on Audacity Workshop, it'll take you right to the page where you can purchase the Audacity Workshop, and you can start going, you can start learning tonight. The videos are already in there. Again, there's videos about the auto duck feature, how to target ums and uhs for annihilation, getting rid of the stutters, things like that. It's in the course. And again, you could either sign up to get the first 10 lessons for free, and they're the basic nuts and bolts. How do you install it? How do you hit record? How do you save as a project? What's the difference between a project and a file? There's a difference. And then if you'd like to go further, the Audacity Workshop, the full studio access is $29.95, and it's a lifetime access. It's not going to go away. It's not a monthly subscription right now, and I don't foresee it being that for a while. Because Audacity, you know, it's not that hard, but to spend an hour or maybe two just to learn the tips and tricks that I show you in this course, I think will save you a lot of time in the long run when you're talking about editing podcasts. If you're a serious podcaster, you need to know your tools. And I've learned how to use Audacity to what I think is the fullest, and trying to save myself that headache of trying to save myself some time from editing so I have more time to report, to promote it, or to get a different guest on, or to, even just to live life. So go to stevestewart.me, click on the Audacity Workshop, scroll down for the 10 free lessons, or scroll down even further if you're interested in taking the full studio level and getting in there, and that will grow. It will grow into a larger course, and like I said, exclusive webinars from some of the podcast industry's luminaries and leaders, and they're going to be coming on from time to time to teach us more things, and I'm really excited about that as well. I'm going to see if there's anybody's making comments here. If anybody's got any questions. I haven't received anything on Twitter, so that's good. Yeah, I live on Twitter. It seems like I spend a lot of time there. That's not a good thing. But I appreciate you watching. And again, if you want to go check it out, it's at stevestewart.me. And I would love to hear some feedback from you as well if you thought that this is something worth spending money on. I really think that is valuable, and I really do think it can help a lot of people. So please spread the word. I appreciate that. And if there's anything I can do to help you, then please let me know. I really appreciate you coming and joining me tonight. I'm Steve Stewart from stevestewart.me. Thanks.